Greetings to everybody. Welcome to our Saturday live stream. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, and we are here with our second live stream of the week. We do one on Saturday at 1 o'clock Mountain Daylight Time, which is 1900 UTC. And we also do another one on Thursday, and at Thursday one is actually at 0100 UTC Friday. So it's the next day on that. But good. Welcome to everybody here. I've got a nice pile of questions for everything. Want to point out that I've got from Eddie Hatherall, GW6BXU. Your question did not come through. It got garbled. I seem to get one or two of those every week. The other announcement is that right here is the antenna from My Antennas. It's the 80 through 10 meter N5 half-wave dipole, and I look forward to doing some videos about it this week. Okay, let's see. We go back up here. All right, running my own switching here on OBS. Let's see. Benjamin mentions that he just went to a little local hamfest this morning. We canceled ours. It was set for the first Saturday in June. I think it's the first time it's been skipped in decades. Although here in Colorado, the death rate from COVID has dropped dramatically and is going down. Also, the number of hospitalizations is very low. And in fact, in Montrose, the last I heard, the hospital has 0 coronavirus patients. So that's good news for Colorado. I know that is not true in other states of the Union. So exercise due caution and follow the recommendations of your local health officials. Even if you do not have COVID-19, please, as a courtesy to others, wear a mask because who knows, you might be transmitting it but have not yet shown any symptoms. As a nation, we are doing pretty good, but individual states are not. So if you're in one of those states, just take extra care. Okay, let's see. 78 and low humidity, very pleasant. First time in weeks I have the windows open. Well, I'm having an air conditioner installed in the room here. It's one of those split units, so there's a thing that goes up on the wall that just has the coils in it and a fan, and then there's a little part that goes right outside down on the ground. And the reason I went that way is I've got an air conditioner just for this room that's made by, let's see, it's this one, right there. And it's a portable air conditioner. It blows its hot air straight down into the crawl space, but frankly, it's extremely noisy and just a pain to have. I have 2 different fans on right now. It's 77 degrees in the room. Let's see. I want to turn that on. M-Fest here in Huntington, West Virginia, also now canceled. Yeah, nobody I asked knows anybody that has it, but I have a mask. I was on Tom Medlin's show, W5QDV, when Emmett Hohensee, who is, I think, the publisher of CQ magazine, was in New Jersey, and he was very had personal experience with people who had the COVID and urged us all to take it very seriously. We're fortunate out here in western Colorado. We're very lightly populated here, so yeah, central air rest today, good. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the questions that we have here. These are the ones that came in since Thursday, and I have the ones that came in last Saturday. For those of you who couldn't make the Thursday live stream, yes, I missed last Saturday. I don't have a good way of letting everybody know that I'm not going to have a live stream. And if you are a subscriber, I can send a note via the community tab of my channel, but that doesn't seem to get to everybody. So I don't know. It's just a shortfall of YouTube. I can't email all of you. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's see this in to see how the explain why some states like Colorado did better with the transmission. We are doing well in Colorado. Denver as a city, it's our capital, of course. It didn't grow up, it grew out because there's ample land. And so there's this little tiny multi-block area downtown that has some skyscrapers, but otherwise it's just really spread out. And I think that's why people are just spread out around here, so that might help it. Hello from Maryland and Windsor, Colorado. This first question is from Pedro Morillas, and he is KE6MIL. And he asks if I have found a way to get aircraft transmissions on SDRuno. And the answer is yes. If we go to, let's see, screen. If we go to the screen over here, it's Ask Dave episode 277, shows how to get ADS-B on your SDR Play radio. Note that you do not use SDRuno for that. This episode walks through the process. Episode 276. Let's, I'm going to do something here. Yeah, episode 276 shows how to build a little antenna for it. And in 275 I show where the radio is and stuff. But 277 is the one that you want to look at. See if I made that the right size. Okay. Are Alinco radios any good? They're fine radios. They are the also-rans in ham radio. Their HF rig is pretty basic. Oh, gotta go back to here. Okay. Alinco radios, their HF rig. Oh, there's Northern Ireland there, Utah, Huntington, West Virginia. You wanted the headache of maintaining an email list. Yeah, I could. If you subscribe to my website, you can subscribe to my website at dcastler.com. In the right-hand column, there's a place where you can subscribe so that any posts I put on there will go to you by email. It's a self-maintaining email list. If you want yourself off, you just click the unsubscribe link and it automatically removes you. In fact, you have to do that. There's no way I can go in and directly edit the mailing list. Maybe that's the best thing I can do. Are Alinco radios any good? Alinco is the fourth Japanese supplier, besides Yaesu, ICOM, and Kenwood, who are the big three. Alinco is a little bit of an also-ran. They do have radios, both handhelds. There is a fairly simple HF radio that they have it's very inexpensively priced for an HF radio. A friend of mine, Roger, down in California, has one. They do, their radios, their digital method that they use is DMR. So if you want to get DMR from a Japanese manufacturer, you can, although, of course, all the radios are made in China, just like everything else. Yeah. Did you recycle envelopes as notepad? Field day events canceled there. We are having our field day up on Sunset Mesa like we usually do. And I am hoping to attend. That'd be good. Okay, what brand handheld ham radio is good? Oh my goodness, there are lots. You've got, of course, your big three, ICOM, Kenwood, and Yaesu. You've got Of the Chinese, you've got Anytone has a very good radio. Islands, which is a Retevis radio, is a good radio. There's also several other Retevis radios. I was just sent one from, and I've got to do that this week. This is a GS5B from Radioddity. It is actually a FM-only radio. Doesn't do DMR, which is a little unusual for them because they kind of started out doing only DMR. And now the problem with the Chinese radios, of course, is service, getting service for them. There's one exception to that. If you get your Anytone radio from Bridgecom Systems, which is in Missouri, they support them. And they've also got a bunch of videos that they'll let you watch if you buy a radio through them that help you learn how to use DMR. They're major into DMR. They also make DMR repeaters and, well, actually any kind of a repeater. And they've got a public service business, too, besides the ham radio business. The DX SR8T, which is the Alinco, yeah, the DSSR-8T is actually designed for commercial HF use for like in fishing boats and stuff like that, where the thing is dead simple to operate. You tune it to a frequency and operate. You're there with voice. Nothing special to do, but it does work. And if that's what you're going to use, just SSB and you've got want a new radio but have a budget crisis, that's a good way as any to get started. The reference station HF radio, of course, is the ICOM 7300. Yeah, that's true. I can email the patron subscribers. That is a good point. Yes. Am I trying to start a religious war? Absolutely not. Think Ford versus Chevy. Yeah, my wife's I had to, when we got a truck, we got a used truck recently. I went in and told the guy what we needed it for, and I said it can't be a Ford because my wife is of the party that says no Fords. So, have you tried connecting the Anytone D578 to your computer for digital mode programming? I have not. I have not done that yet, no. Yeah, Alabama versus Auburn. Okay. Or in my case, BYU versus Utah State. Do you have your IC7300 grounded? Yes. What gauge wire do you use? I use braid, the half-inch braided strap. Yeah, an 8-foot grounding for rod, and was thinking 8 gauge. To take that from there down to the ground rod, I use a number 2 stranded wire. But if I were to do it over again, I would use the braid, I think. And you can get 1-inch wide braid, which is pretty good stuff for that particular ground. You want it to have as low a resistance as possible. Plus, since it's an RF ground, you want a highly textured surface because the radio waves actually travel on the surface of the conductor. Okay, still have my F-150, but a convert to the Toyota. Now, the F-150 is the most popular vehicle in America. Okay, so we answered Pedro's question. Ishmael says hello, and he's J71IMS, and I know a friend of mine is helping him over the internet get that set up. And then that will be a very nice DX catch for people in the U.S. because he seems like he wants to be quite active. Let's see. This is from Dave Slotter, and he is about to create a final beta release of the HamPi ham radio software. He and I are going to talk this week. And I'll do a video about that so we can learn more about HamPi, what it is, where it came from, what it will do for a ham station, what other things you might need to go along with it, and so on. It should be a very interesting thing. And he says that there is whisper software included in this image. An image is a fancy software term for the actual software that you load into a processor. It's called the image. And one of the things I've wanted to do, I have a little whisper. It both transmits and receives, and I want the receive to go into Raspberry Pi to go up to the WhisperNet. I don't want to devote the computer to it because I turn the computer off when I'm not using it. Okay, this is from Tom, Kilo Mike 6, Oscar Charlie November, with a recommendation to check out the QRM-180 Antenna Signal Inverter Filter. Have one and it works like that proverbial miracle to eliminate certain noise sources. What he is talking about here is it's a small unit that has what's called a noise antenna on it. It's a small antenna, but it will pick up significant amounts of the noise, whatever it is. And then you invert that and add it back in the right phase to the signal coming in from your antenna, and it can help cancel some of the QRM in the signal. I looked up this on the internet and found the unit, found where it was made, but could not find a price or order method. So if somebody can give me the link to that, I would appreciate that. I'd have to try that and see if that works. Now, the thing, of course, that your noise antenna, while picking up the strong noises, also picks up a little of the signal you're trying to catch. So it's real finicky the way you do this so that the signal you're trying to get from the big antenna isn't canceled out completely by what it might receive on the noise antenna. Okay. I'm watching your videos to learn for the test for tech. Good. Good. Catherine, great. And good luck with your studies. And I look forward to having you as a fellow ham. What's the difference between HamPi and RigPi? The RigPi is an MFJ product that will allow you to operate your transceiver remotely. It will send the audio back and forth and give you station control. It will not give you the waterfall display, however. HamPi is a set of ham radio software that works with the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi is a small computer. I didn't get one out. Well, it's the basis of this little hotspot right here. This has the Pi software in here, and then the bottom of this thing in here is the Raspberry Pi unit. This is from Garret KD9PBQ. Thanks for all your great videos. Let's see. Looking forward to the extra videos. Yes, so am I. I have not yet gotten my manual from the league. I'll have to call them this week and see if there's some way that they can help me out, given that I'm doing all these videos. See if they will do that. He talks about POTA, which is Parks on the Air, which is a movement that's actually developed a fair amount of steam. Note that to operate in a national park, you will need permission from the head ranger for that park. So it takes a little bit of coordination in advance. I'd look up POTA on the website, on the web, and find out what they're doing there and how to do it, and how you can register your operation so that people will be looking for you when you are operating. It says, do I change my call sign? No, although you can add slash and then you'd like KE0OG. If I were operating in Yosemite National Park, I'd operate KE0OG Portable 6, because that's the 6th call area. And then he asked, do you need to change your grid square? in WSJT-X? And the answer is yes. Also, if you file these QSOs on Logbook of the World, you need to specify a new QTH for them, and that can be done. And I think it's probably, if you do it fairly frequently, it's very straightforward. If you're doing it for the first time, it's probably a little less straightforward. He also mentions that there's free software called Grid Tracker that works with WSJT-X, and he really likes it. It allows you to track your grids. Okay, this next one is from Bryan Douglas, who has no call sign yet. And he talks about plans for an antenna, and talks about he's going to get an ICOM 7300 soon. Well, the advice that I always give to people is get your license first, then get equipment. I have seen too many people spend a lot of money on equipment and then never get their license for whatever reason. Illness, life change, a new baby in the family, something like that. Can make it very hard to do that. Please get your license before you buy your equipment. Once you pass your test and you have your CSCE, you're home free. Go ahead and get some equipment and start working on getting your station set up. He is interested in this antenna here. He's got some 12-gauge stranded copper wire, which is fine. His 75 feet, he could make a 66-foot long 40-meter antenna with that. He's got a 1-to-1 transformer type balun, and some insulators and the top rail. So Brian, please go ahead and get your license, and then if you get just the tech, I would postpone the 7300 until you get your general. But there's lots of great tech stuff. The radio that I'm kind of fond of right now is the Anytone 578, which is a mobile radio, which I have mounted right here in my shack as my home station radio. This is a query from John. He has no call sign yet. Is a 60-foot run of 6-gauge wire to reach my service panel ground rod feasible for bonding to my shack ground? Yes, it is. I hear conflicting opinions on the impedance being too high on long runs. It is, but use bare number 6 copper wire to do the bonding and bury it. It only needs to be buried a couple inches, but bury it. And then it will act like an extension of a ground rod, okay? And that will give you, I've got a number 8 wire. I need to change that to number 6 wire. But it will really help if you can go ahead and bond those two and put that underground. And bare wire. Okay, let's see. Okay. Kenwood TS50 with a buddy pole on battery that we'll use for field day. Will putting in a ground rod help in portable operation? Well, it probably would, but frankly, the problem is getting the ground rods out after you put them in. I went to an Army base once for work reasons and was reviewing some of the communications setups that they had. And they put in ground rods when they operate portably. And they went and bought an old automobile wrecker, the old kind that pulls up the front end of the car to tow it. And they use that strictly to pull those ground rods up out of the ground when they're done with them. There's some environmental regulations that don't let them just leave the ground rods there, which is probably a good idea. That's a safety hazard. You trip over them. But they pull those ground rods up. And that's what it takes, a wrecker, to pull a ground rod up. I would probably say if you think you need a ground, just throw out a piece of wire as a counterpoise and see if that helps any. Trying to ground in a portable situation is difficult to do. And if you're operating portable, how do we get off on that? No, this is number 6. Okay. Oh, that was somebody down here. Preston, thank you. I am hoping someday to get over 100,000 subscribers. I'm a few subscribers short of 70,000 right now, and I appreciate that. And I love my Augies, believe me. Okay, this is from Dennis Brown. He talked last week, and we talked a little bit about it. He has a Baofeng UV5R, and he's trying to work on how to get the programming software to work from the computer, and he's hung up on the cable. The cable, I would go with that radio, go to the PowerWorks website and buy the so-called red cable, which will work with that radio. I've got some videos on that, how to do that. The thing it's asking for when it's asking for a port, you've got your CHIRP downloaded, and it's asking for the port, and the port is the COM port. And I've got a video that shows you when you put that thing in, it will change your COM port. You go to screen down here. Go down to your here and right click and go to Device Manager, okay? And in Device Manager, you look for ports, and you will find the one that matches the cable, that your programming cable, and it says COM 1, 2, 3, so on. It can go as high as 9 or higher. And put that one into that port box, okay? And that is the hardest part about using CHIRP, and if you can get past that, you are in good shape. By the way, I'm back to using the condenser mic here, and hope my audio is okay. He uses a bumper jack to pull them. Okay. Yeah, really. Let's see. Leave a gap between a few letter. Let's see. I have a Kenwood. 148 watching, yes. By the way, Super Chat is open. If you go down on the screen down here at the bottom where you type something in for the chat, if you click on this button, which is the $ in the rectangular box, that will open up Super Chat, and that is how to use that. Let's see, is a battery voltage booster necessary for lithium-ion batteries? Generally not. Lithium-ion batteries tend to run about a volt higher than their lead-acid counterparts. So they're already up in the 13-volt category, and they'll run a radio just absolutely fine. Did you ever get the N-Fed half-wave wire from MFJ to work, or did you just give up? Well, I've got it to work at the end of that video. After a lot of frustration, it's really designed for portable use. You've got to have that little Ballon box kind of like right next to the transceiver, and then your counterpoise wire running out from right there. So it's good for portable use. I've since given the antenna away. This one right here, which is the My Antenna version of it, I understand will work just fine with COAX. We're about to find out. We're going to find out. Don mentioned he's used insulated number 6 wire, which is fine. Battery volt, no, says Larry Ford, still amazes me. Oh, the balloons. Yeah, the British did the same thing to the Germans. Audio spot on. Oh, good. Okay. Hello, please. Can my brother have a shout out? Hello, brother. And Optical Man 1, Jeff, thank you very much for the first super chat of the afternoon. And okay, so we've talked about that. Now this one is About those Eaton AFCI breakers, Brad Tombaugh has sent me, and I've asked him if I could put this on my website, his experience with them, which I will do, and give him, of course, him credit for this. This is all by him. I actually encouraged him to go ahead and write an article for QST about that. Okay, lost the stream. It shows green. Everything shows green here. Hello, Ishmael. Okie dokie. Let's see. This question is about how to reduce or eliminate RF on the coax of an antenna. I guess what he means is on the outside. Oh, he's having a fundamental overload problem on his system. He has a fixed-wing model airplane that uses the typical 2.4 gigahertz, which is Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi. Radio control receiver and separate video transmitter. The video transmitter uses a rubber duck-style dipole antenna. It's also on 2.4. You can see the problem here. We've got one receiving and one transmitting. I get occasional loss of RC control when the video is operating. I've watched some of your antenna videos that describe the effects of feeding a balanced antenna like my video antenna with unbalanced coax. I think maybe my RC control loss may be due to RF on the video feed line rating and into the RC receiver. That's exactly what's happening. It's called fundamental overload. Can I add ferrite toroids? I think you've got two options here, one straightforward and one very much less so. If you can go in and change the channel assignments on those videos to different channels. I know it's spread spectrum and they all use the same frequency range, but I think there's 16 channels or something like that. Change them. It's Wi-Fi. You're dealing with Wi-Fi here. Change them to different channels and try different channel combinations until you come up with two that are sufficiently orthogonal to each other. All of them are supposed to be orthogonal to each other, but I think some are more so than others. Then you would might have a better chance of eliminating the fundamental overload of that video transmission, swamping out the receiver. You can also put the antennas on opposite ends of the airplane. You can try cross-polarization, too. One antenna this way, one antenna this way, 90 degrees apart. The more complicated one is if you're just doing radio control, you got a separate video link, you're just doing radio control, try the 6 meter stuff. Hams can do that, and he's JT2MA. So hams can use 6 meters for aircraft control, and there is 6 meter radio control equipment available that you can put into these fixed wing model aircraft and do control. And then you're on a totally different frequency, and the two shouldn't bother each other very much. And then, and you can have a separate 6 meter antenna that will reply with telemetry, but the bandwidth is low enough. In fact, it's quite low if you're just doing RC for 6 meters. Now, to feed the video for first-person view or for whatever your camera is, you can use that Wi-Fi. We think of Wi-Fi as being inside the house, and they got these little dinky antennas. Actually, I receive my internet via Wi-Fi from a mountain 11 miles away, and that's because they've got parabolic dishes for it, which are readily available. I don't think you put one on your I don't think you'll put one of those on your aircraft unless it's gigantic. But you can use it as a ground station, and if you've got somebody with you who can visually follow the thing so that you've got that dish pointed at the your aircraft, it will really help. So, okay. I have a late grandfather who was a ham radio operator. Can I get his license number if I get my license? When you get your license, you will be issued an FCC license, which will be the next one in their series, and then you apply for a vanity call sign. These days those are free, and you can get your grandfather's call sign if it has not been reassigned. Let's see. Yeah, the Japanese balloons started a few fires. That's about all they did. Nothing ever major. Ever seen one up close, Benjamin? Good feed here. Okay. You can apply for vanity call sign. Yes. Okay. Bill, thank you very much for email. It's D. Castler, D as in David, DCASLER, one S, no T, dcastler.com. Now, if you want to go directly to the ham radio section of my website, you can go to ke0og.net, N-E-T. Okay. Let's see. I use 2.4 gigs to fly my drones. Yes, and 5.8 gig for the video, first-person video and goggles. That helps. That will do it too. Have everything in the shack grounded through single point back to service panel. Do I need to ground my computer? I have found more problems grounding computer. Just let them ground through the utility 3-wire, green wire ground. Okay, so that's that. Oh, let's go back to the questions that we missed on Thursday. Now, we're doing really good on time. And Bill, again, thank you very much for the super chat. Okay. This is from Adam. Sierra Quebec 5, Victor Charlie Oscar. Okay, in Poland. This is a new ham, and he's concerned about RF safety. Okay, his question has to do with radiated RF. And in the general class videos that I have, go to, and I'll show you where to find this. We'll go to the screen, and we'll go to the Ask Dave here. And we'll search for, no, we'll just go down here to General, where it says General. See, I'm circling the mouse, General. Okay, and then here are the videos in the General course. And there's one down here at the end, 9.2 RF exposure. It's video G36. And you can search my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Dave Casler, DAVECASLER, and just search for G36 and it'll take you right to this video. This video talks about RF exposure and gives you a very complete rundown of what the League has published on the matter. Okay, now you will find, I think, he's concerned about RF in the shack. He's concerned about being called a tinfoil hat loony, but the only band you're really going to have any trouble with is maybe 12 and 10 meters. You shouldn't go up to a full 100 watts if you're that close to the antenna. On 80 through 20, you're probably good. You're probably good. Now, if you're feeling symptoms, I don't know if it's psychosomatic or there might be something else in your shack that could be causing the problem. There's a whole... I'm going to give away my opinion of it. A whole pile of hoofera on people being super sensitive to things like Wi-Fi and so on. It has never been proven. The people involved can never prove it with a double-blind test. But some people think it's an issue. Now, here are some other things that could be causing the problem, okay? If you have a power supply or something like that that puts out an ultrasonic high-pitch squeal, Okay, your power supply is probably, I'm guessing, a switching power supply, and the switching frequencies about 50 kilohertz probably. That is in the ultrasonic range. You wouldn't normally hear it, but ultrasonic sounds can give you a headache. So that might be one of the reasons that you're getting headache. Also, if you have fluorescent lighting in there, those also emit ultrasonic sounds and can be giving you a headache. So you might go to just plain old-fashioned incandescent bulbs. The LED bulbs, I think, use lower switching frequencies, and so I doubt they'd create a real problem. When I was young, I could actually hear television sets. I could hear the flyback transformer in the sets, which is at 12,000 hertz about. And that's within the range of human hearing when you're young. But at my age, I can't hear anything above about 8,000 hertz. So it could be something like that. So look for acoustic sources. Also look for blinking lights, things like that. There's some people who are very sensitive to flickering lights. In fact, if it's of the right frequency, it can actually induce a seizure in some people. But just look for anything that could be creating an ultrasonic noise, flickering lights, something like that could also be giving you the problem. Understand that RF radiation is non-ionizing radiation. It's not at a high enough frequency to be ionizing. Okay? So since it's non-ionizing, the only damage it can cause to the body is to provide heat to the body. Now, the human body is a dipole antenna, vertical dipole, most of the time. This morning it was a horizontal dipole. But you get up starting to get toward 10 meters and you start getting into those frequencies where it can resonate with the body or part of the body. But if you're below 20 meters down to 80 meters, 160 meters, the body's too small to pick up very much of that. Keep your power down to 100 watts. If you now, you say you've tried lowering the power to 20 or 30 watts and still having the problem. I'd go try those other possible sources for ultrasonic noise or something like that. Because even though you don't consciously hear it, it is bothering your ear and can give you a headache. I hope that helps, Adam. Good luck on you've just become a new ham. Congratulations. And do become active. There are a lot of Americans who'd like to talk to you because you're a DX. Okay, hope that helped. Let me get back to the live stream thing here. Okay. Let's see. Down to do. Use 2.45. Let's see. Check grounded. It's interesting video feedback effect. Yeah. Just look at the amperage of the wall wart for a Wi-Fi router. It's simply not powerful. Yeah, the wall wart for a Wi-Fi router, it's just not powerful enough. The Wi-Fi routers are way less than a watt. If you want to microwave something, you've got to put about 1,000 watts into it, so that should give you an idea. That video, by the way, I think it covers the ARRL stuff for RF grounding, and I give the example of the microwave, and I show its use and so on. So even the microwave heats. It's not ionizing radiation. Okay, yeah. When I tune it up on 80, it shuts my TV off and turns on my induction cooktop. Yeah, you've got an RFI problem. Get those ferrite beads out. Okay, this one is from Brown N5SKT. Oh no, I skipped one here. This is from, well, he signs at 73. John Stevens, WB4 Hotel Zulu Alpha. And, he tells a story. I'll relate it to you here. A couple months ago, he bought some of my Augie t-shirts online. If you look at any of my videos. Underneath is a line of merchandise that you can buy. And there are Augie t-shirts in there. Okay, there was a problem with the connection there, and the computer was beeping at me. I think we're okay. Okay, a couple months ago I bought some Augie t-shirts and then couldn't find them. He looked in his wife's dresser, and lo and behold, there they were. The next day at breakfast, she asked me, "Where are your old guy t-shirts?" I said, "What?" She said, "Your old guy t-shirts, the ones with OG on the front. What did you do with them? They're very comfortable, and I enjoy sleeping in them." She said, "The OG and the t-shirts were part of my call letters. We were all considered Augies, but she was having none of that. She said, 'You're my old guy, and I would like to have at least joint custody of the t-shirts.'" So you can always do it for old girl, I guess, too. Okay, this is from Don. It has to do with grounding. He shows a it shows a picture here of grounding, and that's not focusing. There we go. Okay, he has a single point ground like a pipe, okay, and he has all the stuff going together, and talking about those little ground loops. I have not found those to be an issue of any kind, and the way you have it grounded is correct. Now that single point ground, this pipe down here, yeah, doing it backwards in the thing, doesn't necessarily need to be very long, and it will work just fine. My single point ground in the station is a piece of copper pipe about this long. It's about a foot long, okay, and I pounded down the ends, bent them down to make a bracket out of them, drilled 1/4-inch holes in them, and then bolted them to the back of the desk. Okay, and then my number 6 stranded wire, not number 6, I'm sorry, number 2 stranded wire, connects to that and takes it down to the ground rod, and then everything in my station is grounded to that one single point ground. I have a video on grounding. It is number 8. And a very popular video. This is, let's see, okay. This is from John, Whiskey Echo 2, Charlie Alpha Tango. And he is studying for his extra and using my videos to do so. I have a question about vertical antennas, installing a high gain AV6160 on a 2-store brick house. Let's look up the high gain AV6860. We'll go in screen. We'll go over here to MFJ. They've been redoing their website. And we want to look in here under search. I don't like their search thing. AV 6160. Okay, it's an HF vertical. It's a 43-foot vertical. Okay, a 43-foot vertical. There it is. Okay, the 43-foot vertical. Let me talk a little bit about the 43-foot vertical. They were all the rage 10, 15 years ago. All the rage. You ground mount them, okay, and you put a gazillion radials out. They're really dependent on radials. And then you have to put the tuner right at the base of it. Right at the base. And they make tuners that are waterproofed and remote controlled that you can put right at the base, and then you feed it with coax. Of course, it has to be well grounded. They've kind of gone out of favor because although they will tune on 20, 15, 10, they really aren't all that good on those frequencies. They're better on the lower bands. I think you can actually tune them for 160. but certainly 80 and 40. And then, so if you're going to be putting that one on a two-story house, you need radials. Now he says, was told by the manufacturer it's completely acceptable to put it above the roof line. Well, I hope MFJ didn't tell you to put that up without radials. Now, you're going to... okay, if you've got your antenna elevated and you put the radials on the ground, it's not going to do you any good. You've got to bring the radials up to the antenna. Now, when you do that, if you put the radials up, you can get away with a lot fewer radials. You will need at least 2 radials tuned for whatever band you're operating. So if you're going to operate on 80, you need 2 66-foot radials. On 40, 33, and so on, you don't need separate radials for 15 because it'll use the 40-meter radials. But otherwise, you need at least 2, more would be better, tuned radials going out kind of flat from there. And so you're going to have to get those radials out there. I would not try putting that particular antenna, which is a 43-foot vertical, on a roof without radials. Now, the word radial does not mean ground mounted. A radial is just something that goes out from the base of the antenna. Okay, my radio is 1 foot from TV and 8 foot from my cooktop. And it sounds like it must work. This is from Garvin Tania, or Tania. Hey Dave, 9 Zulu 4 Golf Tango Echo in Trinidad and Tobago. How effective do you think is broadband over satellite? It'll be okay. If you're using the like HughesNet or something like that, it's not going to work very well because of the delay. Do I have any concerns about 5G propagation on our health? None whatsoever. Okay. Looking to buy another IC7300. Have you seen what these are seeing for used? They keep dropping the price on them because they're almost turning it into a commodity because they can just churn them out of that factory. They've already recovered their original sunk costs, and so it doesn't cost them that much to churn out more. The IC7300, which is less than $1,000 these days, has really caused the market for used gear to drop and go down. So I would, if you need another one for whatever reason, just get another one. Let's see. She's in pics. Optimist guy. There you go. OM and XYL shirts. Yes. Thanks for the live stream. You're welcome. This is from Orrin Turner. Hey Dave, KG4H or KHC. Can I operate CW in my IC7300 only using the ground on the AC plug? If not, is running it through the attic okay? Bare copper or coated? I would recommend that you find a way to get a ground line the shortest distance to ground. Now, I know somebody, Dick Schultz in town here, who actually went into the crawl space and drove in a ground rod down there so that it was directly under his shack, and it works for him. If it does work for you only through the ground and the AC plug, well, then that's what you've got. Go ahead and do that. If you have RFI problems, you'll want to try grounding. I think you might eliminate a little bit of noise on your antennas if you can find a separate ground. Don't go up with that ground wire into the attic. Go down however you can so that you can, going down and getting to the nearest wall outside and going into the ground. An electrician might be able to help you. Of course, they'll charge you. You can look at. Now, you'll check with your city to see if you need a building permit to do that. In most, not all, most jurisdictions, a homeowner can do his or her own wiring with a permit, of course. That's one of the rare things. Your next door neighbor cannot help you with your wiring, because if he did, he'd need to have an electrician's license. But you can do your own. It's kind of a weird leftover from something. Okay, anyone get a used 7300 for sale? Kind of like your butternut. How tall is that guy again? The butternut was 30 some odd feet, I think. Took hiatus from ham radio, but coming back into the hobby. Well, Marty, welcome back. Got mine for $8.25 like a month ago. ARRL VHF contest today. That's good. That is good. If you have your IC7300 or any HF radio, check out 6 meters. I have heard that 6 meters, which is a VHF frequency, 6 meters has been running like gangbusters recently. And if you've got a contest, that means there's lots of people to talk to on 6 meters. It'll be single sideband 6 meters, or CW. Not the FM, but the single sideband. It's most of the activities down the bottom end of the band between 50 and 51 megahertz. Let's see. This is from, the next one's from Byron Miller. No call sign. Any plans for updating your videos to cover the new ham radio extra class starting 7/1/2020? Yes, as soon as I get the book. I don't have the book yet. It's on order from the league. 10 meter FT8 has been awesome. Okay. Can't find a used 7300 for under 800 on a good day. These things are holding their value. Yes, they are. They're actually, for what they do, they're extremely inexpensive. I mean, comparable radios cost more. Anyone been on the 100 watts in a wire event I keep hearing about? Look it up look up 100 watts in a wire on Google, and you'll find his website. He actually has a podcast rather than a YouTube channel, although you can listen to them on YouTube. He interviewed me at Dayton 2018, and that's in his archive somewhere. Okay, this is from Kilo November 6, Charlie, Kilo Golf. I searched your site, didn't find anything. Co-phased antenna setups usually has a coax of 75 ohms at the split. Why 75? Why not 100? Would it be due to a reflection bump? They're using 75 ohms as an impedance transformer. Okay, and 75 ohm coax is readily available. You can go down to Home Depot or not Staples, Lowe's, and pick up RG6 coax. It's CATV coax. It's television coax, and it's very cheap. And some people actually use it in their ham stations because dipole antennas are actually closer to 75 ohms if they're all the way up at a half wavelength. As they come down, the impedance comes down. Okay, need to make a 6 meter antenna. They're really short and very easy to do. By the way, a dipole is a dipole is a dipole. A dipole on 6 meters that is a half a wavelength high, which is 3 meters, or in other words, 10 feet, will give you the same kind of coverage and reception as a 40 meter dipole at 66 feet. A dipole is a dipole is a dipole. Okay, it doesn't matter whether they're long or short for their particular band. It's an interesting fact in engineering. HF9V, 25 feet tall. Okay. Oh, and we are almost out of time. I think we'll take one more. Dick Paige, N0, Alpha Juliet Mike. I'm putting up a broadband butterfly terminated dipole in my attic. Can you show the direction of the strongest path of the signal? I don't know that particular antenna. The balun will be on the south end of the attic and the resistance to the north. What if I put the balun on the east and the resistor on the west? I don't know. Home is north-northeast facing and shaped like a cracker box. try it. Now, the terminating and what that butterfly does is it's directional. And if you had an open instead of a termination there, it would be bidirectional. When you put the termination there, it's unidirectional. And I think it's unidirectional in the direction of the resistor. Make sure that that resistor can handle the power, because half of your power is going to be dissipated in that resistor. You need a 50-watt resistor in there, minimum. Put a 100-watt in or 200-watt in for safety. Don't put that resistor somewhere where it can catch fire and create a problem for you. I am not a fan of throwing half my signal away, but you do that on the rhombics. Of course, the rhombic, you can put a reactive element there that will capture that energy and feed it back in the appropriate phase. Okay, what do you think about solid-state CW paddles? They're probably fine. I prefer the physical. Meet us on 20 when you're done. Oh, yeah. And it's best the whole 6 meters of wire. Thank you very much from Christopher Goodman. Another good chat, 73s, he says. And let's see, I'm going to stop right there. So I'll have the rest of these questions for this coming Thursday. Very good. Okay. So thank you all very much. You can use the Super Chat to support this channel, as Paul B. just did. Says he always picks up something useful. And thank you very much for that. And we've had $40 in chat revenue for this video. And I use that channel funds to do things like buy the My Antennas antenna so I can test it. This I purchased with channel funds. It means you guys out there paid for this. So I owe you a video on it about how well the thing works, and I'll give it a try. And we'll continue to try to do that. So, yeah, go ahead, get on 6 meters today, see what you can find. 6 meter activity is usually horizontally polarized, although if it's ionospherically reflected, it will be, it could be any polarization. Okay. So, and John Garcia, thank you very much. Thank you. So I'm going to say 73 to all. Check out dcastler.com/support for ways to support the channel. Please subscribe if you are not subscribed. And when you subscribe, you become an Augie, a follower of OG. And there is some merchandise there, t-shirts and things like that. So we will see you on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. United States Mountain Daylight Time. That is 0100 UTC on Friday. So we will see you then, and I will say 73, and take care.